rising intonation? Do I need to use it? Let's take a closer look. Hey guys, this is Jeff again with Fluent American, and we're going to be taking a look at rising intonation a little bit more closely. Now, we've talked about intonation patterns before, so if you're not familiar with the basics of it, be sure to check out these other videos that we have. But a quick refresher, what does rising intonation sound like? Well, it sounds like this. You can contrast that with this, which would be more falling intonation. In these other videos, we've talked about the reasons why you use rising intonation, things like yes/no questions or unfinished sentences. But there's a couple other purposes that it can also be used for too that are pretty common in English and I think are pretty essential if the goal is trying to sound more natural. For instance, listen to this.
Hi. Charleston Clinic, how may I help you?
So in this case, rising intonation is used to soften the request. There's nothing wrong with using falling intonation here. In fact, for instance, many times if you call to schedule an appointment, you may hear the person on the other end of the line use falling intonation. So for instance, like doctor's office. Notice that's more of a fall office. What that does when you use that falling intonation is it can make what you're saying sound just a little bit more serious, a little bit more forceful, or a little stronger. If the goal is to try to sound a little bit friendlier though, or a little bit softer, what you can do is end with a very slight rise. Compare these two. Doctor's office, doctor's office, doctor's office, doctor's office. So the second one has just a little bit of a rise. And again, office versus office, office. So there's that very slight rise at the end. And again, what that does is it just softens what you're saying. It makes it sound just a little bit friendlier, a little bit more casual, a little bit less authoritative. This can be helpful when you're trying to make a request of someone and you don't want to make the request sound too strong. For instance, do you think you can help me? Versus, do you think you can help me? Like the first one just sounds a little bit friendlier. Do you think you can help me? Versus, do you think you can help me? The first one again, like I said, just sounds a little bit softer, a little bit friendlier. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel. Of course, another function of rising intonation is also to show that you're not done talking. Take a look at this example.
What we do is we get to pull up our advanced scheduling program and we look and see what is going to be the most available time with whatever the PT is that you are planning to see.
So notice that she's using rising intonations everywhere. And this, again, I think is doing two things. This is showing that she's not done talking, but I think it's also kind of doing that first reason that we mentioned earlier, softening a little bit of what you're saying. She's giving instructions. She's talking about her process and to make the steps sound a little bit friendlier instead of sounding too much like a textbook. I think using that rising intonation is helpful. Looking for daily pronunciation and intonation feedback? Check out our Telegram group by visiting our Patreon page. One last thing that you can use rising intonation for is to show surprise or to seek confirmation. To give you an example, listen to this.
What grade are you in?
4.
You're in 4th grade?
So you can hear former President Barack Obama saying, 4th grade, grade. Hear that rise? Compare that to what a falling intonation would sound like. A falling intonation would sound more like grade, 4th grade. 4th grade, 4th grade. Do you hear the difference in the intonation patterns? The first one, what it does when you do grade, what that does is it's seeking confirmation just to make sure I understood you. You said 4th grade, you said 4th grade. And again, it makes it like a question. So even though your subject and your verb don't move, it kind of makes it a question because what you're doing is you're seeking confirmation. Is this what you said? Right? 4th grade, 4th grade. Like it's, again, trying to just double check and make sure. It can also be used to indicate surprise, like you weren't expecting something. Like, really? Really? What that does is you weren't sure of something. Really? I wasn't expecting that. Really? So again, rising intonation used to show surprise or also to seek confirmation from the person you're talking to. So again, these are just some quick functions of rising intonation to help you sound more natural for these situations.